Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Healthcare Experience Matters, the podcast from the Healthcare Experience Foundation. We are joined today by Elisa Grace. She's the Vice President of Coaching here with the Healthcare Experience Foundation.
Hi,
And
Casey.
hey, how are you? Let's start there.
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, Casey.
So let's jump into it. I want to introduce you and what you're all about to our listeners. Let's just kick this off by having you tell us about yourself and maybe even something that might be interesting we wouldn't see on your CV or resume.
First, I'm going to start with what you won't see on my resume. So, what you won't see on my resume is that I'm a member of the Narragansett Indian tribe in Rhode Island. You will not see that. You will see that within the context of the history of the work that I've done, because that's been an exciting part as well. So, as a coach, my coaching role is really about helping organizations and individuals navigate and lead through challenge and change. In the end, it really is about the business of helping people, is what I always say. And coaching kind of turns a lens onto what people already know and are doing, and typically gently guides them in a direction of accountability and improvement.
Yeah, that's great. And is there anything else you wanted to say about your professional background and
Sure,
some stops along the way before reaching us here
absolutely.
at the Healthcare Experience Foundation?
Absolutely. So I've been in this business, gosh, since I was 21. If you want to do some dirty math on that, then that would be about 42 years. Shh, don't tell anybody that. And along the way, I've had the privilege of working for nonprofits, organizations like Indian Health Service. I've worked for nonprofit hospital and healthcare centers in San Diego. I served as the chief operating officer for 7 years over ambulatory and medical divisions. I got the patient experience bug while I was in San Diego, which is really a little diversion and interesting story as my boss dropped this project on my desk and said, "We're going to improve the patient experience." And I went, "Oh my gosh, don't you know how busy I already am?" I called it the HNP, which for me meant the Heck No Project, and literally set it in my file in a purple folder on my desk and just kind of looked at it for a little bit. But it quickly became that it wasn't optional, but it was 14 employees that were selected out of 14,000, and I was one of those. And that started my patient experience journey when I began to really think about impact and how we do what we do every day really makes a difference and changes a life. And I adopted a coaching acumen within our organization, and eventually was recruited to do it nationwide. So super excited. I'm very, very passionate about what we do. And I think that we really make a difference. And I know it sounds a little bit corny, but we make a difference every day. And we have the opportunity to really impact individuals' lives and change the world for leaders as well.
And tell me about what coaching does for leaders and what some of the benefits are to the
Mhm,
organization as
mhm.
well.
Yeah, some of the benefits I think to the individual is that when we come alongside you, we often find that it's not necessarily limited to specific operational issues or issues within the organization. That we also come, I think we often forget that leaders are humans too. And we come with a host of complex ideas and issues and concerns and life, and we have to somehow or another marry that into our business processes. And we come into it with different biases. And sometimes a coach can help you to see blind spots and help you to see where is the opportunity here and what's getting in the way, and can hold you to a higher level of accountability and still support. So I think the independent nature of coaching is really helpful for the individual. For the organization, remember, an organization is a collection of individuals. So if we can really get our arms around what can I do within your individual sphere, and what can I do to actually help you to kind of move the needle, and I add one to one to one to one, and I've got an entire senior leadership team that is now pulling and rowing in the same direction. That's powerful.
And tell me about common myths. Are there
Mhm.
some coaching myths out there we want to
Yeah,
kind of dispel or talk about?
I think there are a lot. I said, recently to an individual, that coaching in itself is not therapy, but it's therapeutic in that it is it's healing often to be able to see what you can't see and then to be able to address the change. So it's definitely not therapy. Coaching is also not a quick fix. There's no coach who's going to do one thing that is going to make an organization burst off the seams. It's work. It's a commitment. It's a journey. So all the myths of some immediate gratification and solution, don't fall for that one. It's work. So those would probably be two of the bigger myths that I would call out. I think the other thing is that it doesn't go on forever. I think there's also some thought that coaching goes on forever. And I often say to my clients, my expectation is that you graduate because if I'm doing my job well, you actually shouldn't need me long term. So unless something else crops up and we're working on another project or we're working in another particular area, I think that we should have, as coaching, we should have an expectation that part of the plan is we're going to build out this map and we're going to get you where you need to go. And then you're going to be off flying, and there's enough opportunities in the world then to coach other individuals and health systems.
Really well said. So, how have you personally seen coaching create better healthcare?
Sure, sure. I think in terms of outcomes, so we know that within the healthcare arena, one of the major statistics that is often put forth is the patient experience, and it's documented through CMS and HCAHPS and HEDIS reporting. And if you start looking at the pre and post, what happens when an organization has not had coaching, and oftentimes that's the point where we're called in. We're called in because all of a sudden a metric has jumped up. So the HCAP score is low, or the CG score is not where it should be, or leapfrog is off. And that kind of starts the process, if you will. It's like the acknowledgement of, ooh, something's not where it needs to be, and how do we get there? So calling in coaches, we then are able to positively impact those outcomes so that the patient experience is better, that morbidity and mortality are lower, that readmissions are lower, that employee engagement scores are much higher. So we have the ability to influence those things, and we typically do it, based on the client's baseline. So is yes, we can do percentile ranking and compare you to other organizations in the country, but the most important metric is the one that you're measuring yourself. What's important? What are those critical few? And then let's set some measurements and push for accountability and achievement.
And what do you hope to accomplish at the Healthcare Experience Foundation? What will success look like for you?
We're changing the world. I mean, just go big with it. We're changing the face of healthcare. And we'll do that one individual, we'll do that one organization at a time, and we're not afraid to do that. And I think we also are open to take on some of the tougher challenges, to have the conversations in the DEI space, to make a difference in health equity. So those are areas I think that, unlike many other consultant houses, that we actively have a foot in changing that dynamic and increasing that learning and professional accountability for our leadership.
Folks, you've been listening to Elisa Grace. She's the vice president of coaching with the Healthcare Experience Foundation. And of course, as I do in these interviews, I want to give her an opportunity to give us the final word here. Is there
Yeah.
anything else you'd like to add or make mention of that
Well,
we didn't talk about?
yeah. Final word, expand your vocabulary. So as leaders, that's part of our job, and how we grow confidence is to build skills and muscles and then be able to share that information effectively. I want to encourage leadership that you're not in it alone. So reach out. You've got peers in the industry. You've got organizations like HXF. So reach out. Don't do this by yourself. We have some upcoming events, and we'll share that information at the conclusion of the broadcast. So hope to meet you. Look forward to it. Thanks, Casey.
Absolutely. Healthcareexperience.org is the website for all things Healthcare Experience Foundation. And of course, we will include a link to all upcoming certificate programs from HXF, as well as Elisa's contact information if you'd like to reach out to her directly. Thank you again,
Awesome.
Elisa, for your time.
Hey, thank you. Thanks, Casey.